The Chicago White Sox have been shaking hands a lot lately, winning 11 of their last 12 games. The Royals just finished taking a series from the Cardinals, winning in a blowout yesterday. So two teams feeling good meet at Kauffman Stadium tonight on Fox Sports Kansas City. After a rare day off on Saturday, Jason Kendall drove in 4 yesterday afternoon as the Royals finished up interleague play with a series win against the Cardinals. Now it's back to the American League and a 3-game series against the surging Chicago White Sox. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Paul Splittorff. I'm Ryan Lefevre, and it's been a while since the Royals have seen the White Sox, in fact, over a month. And the last time they saw them split, they were one of the bigger disappointments in the American League.
Oh, absolutely. Almost to the point that they were talking about maybe making some moves on their roster and saying, hey, we're not going to contend this year. But that has certainly changed since the 1st of June. You see where they were most of the first 2+ months of the year, right there in the same area the Royals were. All of a sudden now, you're thinking of maybe catching them. But they got into interleague play, blew away the National League, went 14-2. And all of a sudden now, they're not by Kansas City in the standings. They're up in the high rent district. And all of a sudden now, a contender with Minnesota and Detroit.
It took a while, but things are starting to play out in Chicago. They really thought that their starting rotation was going to carry this team.
And it should have early on. They did not throw the ball that well. They didn't play well defensively, but it's all coming together right now. You see what they've done over the last 2.5 weeks. I mean, first in record, earned run averages right there, holding the opponents down. It's all about the pitching. But if you talk about the White Sox, all they want to talk about is their improved defense. We'll get into that here tonight as well.
Going up against the Royals, who are still at the top, not the very top in the American League. They are second in the league in hitting coming into tonight, and lately led by the top of the order.
Yeah, the top of the order was terrific yesterday. 3 hits by Pasetnik. He stole a couple bases. Kendall had 3 hits, a couple RBIs, and David DeJesus, he's always in the middle of the action. He was on base 3 times himself.
And the offense feeling good after scoring 10 runs yesterday. They'd love to give Anthony LaRue that type of run support tonight, as LaRue is making his 3rd start for the Royals this year and still looking for his first Major League win. And we'll talk more about LaRue after this. visit kia.com. And by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. Anthony LaRue has made 2 starts for the Royals since being called up. He had a very good start against the Astros here at Kauffman Stadium, giving up just 2 runs in 6 innings, and then took the loss in his last start at Washington, giving up 10 hits, 5 extra base hits. Here's the Kia report on him tonight.
Well, Ryan, both times out, he found a way to keep himself and his club in the ballgame. He wants to work inner half and outer half, not a guy who's going to go either corner at this point. He's really better on his arm side with beans away from the lefties, inside on the righties. He needs to be very effective with his changeup here tonight. That means the fastball has to get him ahead in the count.
The lineup he will face tonight, presented by M&I Bank. It's a very interesting offense. The guys that have really come through for the White Sox so far, Alex Rios and Paul Konerko, but it's a team that doesn't have a high batting average. They don't necessarily score a lot of runs, but they hit home runs, and they are second in the American League in stolen bases.
Well, Ryan, this is a team that did not get off to a good start offensively. Paul Konerko is the only guy that hit from opening day on. In fact, he had a club record for home runs in the month of May with 11 of them. I mean, he's a legitimate all-star candidate, one of the top first basemen in all of baseball. You don't hear a lot about him right now because the White Sox were out of the race early on. But he is a factor right now in the heart of their lineup.
Royals are feeling good about their way they're playing. This will be a good test against the White Sox. We'll keep an eye on that. And can Jose Guillen stretch his hitting streak to 22 games? He'll be facing Mark Burley in the White Sox, and the first pitch is next. Kauffman Stadium in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Ryan Lefevre with Paul Splittorff, and out in right field is Joel Goldberg. Joel.
Well, Ryan, Anthony LaRue just going out to the field. You know, he's a guy that Bob McClure says works really, really hard. But, of course, the first thing people notice is those big, long lamb chops on the side of his face. He looks a little bit like Elvis. Ned Yost was saying today that You know, I wish I could grow those kind of things, but I'm not capable of doing that. There's a lot of things that Anthony does that maybe a lot of people don't do. Bob McClure saying he's got a lot of energy. He is off the wall. He is old school, and you never know what he's going to do or what he's going to say. I think it is safe to say with his very free-spirited personality, guys, that he is a lefty trapped in a righty's body. Split, what do you think?
That was pretty low right there, Joel. I mean, you could have done anything but that.
Wow, them is fighting words.
Hey, I'm one of them, too.
Well, Split, when he pitched against the Astros, you and I did the game together, and we thought that was a trimmed down Anthony LaRue. And I asked him, he said no, he still weighs the same, but maybe the weight has been redistributed. He did say that in the minor leagues, his sideburns aren't allowed to be as bushy, so they are thinned out now, so maybe it's the thinned out sideburns make him look slim down.
Well, if he is a little bit slimmed down, maybe he'd be a little bit quicker off the mound. I know that was something I wanted him to do. Quicker holding the men on base, quicker off the mound, defending your position. Get that done. But, you know, he does look a lot better in uniform. I'm sure the body fat has got to be a whole lot better right now. But the important thing right now, get the ball over the plate, try to get this thing into the late innings, hold the White Sox off the board. They have been hot lately, winning 15 of their last 17.
Coming off a loss to the Nationals, and the Royals lost that game by 1 run, 4-3. So 10 hits allowed in 5 1/3 innings. But half of those hits were extra base hits. He gave up a couple of home runs. He faces the White Sox for the first time. And he's down and in. Ball 1 to Juan Pierre. Last time the White Sox were here, that was the first series for Ned Yost as manager of the Royals, and the Royals took 2 out of 3 from Chicago, and they seem to be sinking in the American League Central Division. And the Royals really pitched Juan Pierre well. He was not a factor, just 2 hits and no runs scored, and now he pops out to Betancourt, and there's 1 down. Very pleasant night after a very hot and humid weekend. It's 88 degrees with much lower humidity. We started at 7:11 Central Daylight Time, and the time and temp is brought to you by the Parking Spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The Parking Spot at KCI.
The St. Louis series felt like the end of July, maybe the early part of August rather than June, so this is much more common for this part of the country.
And not quite as much energy in the ballpark as over the weekend, where the Royals had 2 sellouts and then a near sellout. So the good news is there is not as much red in the stadium tonight. But then again, there are a lot more empty seats.
I did see a little red coming in a Chicago Blackhawks jersey. Oh, there's a leftover from yesterday.
Now, why would you go to a Royals White Sox game in a Cardinals hat and t-shirt? LaRue strikes out Vizquel, so 2 up, 2 down.
And LaRue looking a little bit like Mark Burley as far as he is working fast and throwing strikes here early on.
Here are the Royals on defense. Pasetnik, Bloomquist, and DeJesus in the outfield. So Bloomquist in place of Mitch Meyer with Mark Burley on the mound. And Jason Kendall behind the plate for Anthony LaRue. And now Alex Rios. Butler and Aviles over to give it a look, and Billy makes the play, and that's a 10-pitch first inning for LaRue and the Royals. Kauffman Stadium, and the Royals batting order is presented by M&I Bank. Billy Butler, in his 36 career at-bats against Mark Burley, is hitting .333 and also has a couple of home runs. Scott Posednik, Burley's former teammate, takes a strike. Posednik with 5 hits, 2 stolen bases, and 4 runs scored in the Cardinal series, and is batting at .292.
Real similarity in the leadoff spot with Posednik for the Royals and Pierre for the White Sox. Almost the same player. Left-handed bat, slap the ball, spray it around the field. Great speed, among the leaders in the league in stolen bases. Good contact hitters.
And Posednik making contact, down 1 ball, 2 strikes. White Sox wanted to re-sign Scott Posednik, but they couldn't agree on a deal. So they go out and get a player, like you said, Split, just very similar to him in his game. As Ramirez throws him out. Posednik had a great year last year for the White Sox. Mark Burley pitching for the White Sox, and this is his 45th career appearance against the Royals. Here's the Kia report.
Well, he wants to stay hot here tonight. Just the 4 earned runs his last 20 innings. He comes in with a 3-game winning streak. He will pitch inside to the right-handed hitters, but he's confident of his defense on the left side of the infield. And hey, don't balk it. I remember he got thrown out earlier this year by Joe West when he was in Cleveland. And talking to the White Sox people, they said that was just a courtesy toss to first base. That wasn't his best move. Maybe that's what he was arguing about. That wasn't even my balk move.
Now, if you want me to balk, I'll balk.
I'll show you a balk. It's going to have to be the next time out because I've been called to the shower.
Loop to right, and Jason Kendall singles with 1 out. Kendall had 2 doubles and 4 RBIs yesterday and drove in 5 in the Cardinal series.
He also had a good ball game on Friday night. He was involved in that 3-run second inning to put the Royals on top. There's a cut fastball in on the hands. It looked like he was trying to turn on it a little bit, but did stay inside the ball and looped it into short right field. Royals get a base runner with 1 out.
David DeJesus with 1 on, 1 out. He had 6 hits in the Cardinals series and drove in 4. There are many pitchers that give David a bad time, but Mark Burley is one of them. 70 career at-bats, and he bats just .171.
That's not a small sample, is it?
There are very few players who have a small sample, being in the same division. The Royals know Burley. Burley knows the Royals. Posednik's ground out was only his 4th career at-bat against Burley. That's because they played together. But Kendall has 21 at-bats, DeJesus 70, Butler 36, Guillen 29, Callaspo 17, Avilas 19, Bloomquist 30, and Betancourt 15. So there shouldn't be any surprises tonight.
I was talking to a Chicago scout yesterday before the start of the ball game, and they're concerned about the Royals against Burley. They feel that Kansas City has one of the best approaches overall against this left-hander. So they've had some luck against him recently as far as getting a lot of men on base, and they're concerned about the Royals' day-to-day approach. It's not really the best matchup against Burley. He does better against big hitters looking to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Burley has pitched more than a full season against the Royals alone. 42 starts. He also has a couple of relief appearances, 20 career wins against KC, and a very good ERA. That is the 6th most wins against the Royals in their history. But Burley has not pitched all that well in his last 3 starts against KC. So Burley has now missed with 5 in a row after the 4-pitch walk to DeJesus, and 2 on for Billy Butler.
Ryan, you mentioned everybody knows each other well with Burley and the Royals being in the same division. He is the only holdover starting pitcher that they have from their 2005 World Championship team. So he's been around a while. He makes all of his starts. 225 innings on average pitched over the last 9 years. Always a double-figure win.
Defensively for the White Sox, Andrew Jones will be in left field with Rios and Quinton. Omar Vizquel at third base, and the White Sox have been thrilled with his work, picking up for Mark Teahan, who's on the disabled list. So the player who has appeared at shortstop more than any player in Major League history is now over at third. In fact, one of the games against the Royals back here in May, he appeared in one game as the designated hitter. They're just trying to get him in there.
Well, they're just trying to get his bat in there at that time. Now they want his glove out there. They brought him to Chicago to work with Alexi Ramirez, their young shortstop. Last year he was in Arlington, Texas, working with a first-year player in that ball club. They also thought he'd be a good influence on Gordon Beckham, who is now the second baseman. You never know what's going to happen during the course of a year. Bring in as a backup, and now in there every day at third base. They've had a lot of luck with him there.
2-2 to Butler with Kendall at second base, DeJesus at first. Reaching, and he pulls it through the hole on the left side. And Eddie Rodriguez is going to wave Kendall home, and he beats the throw from Andrew Jones. So the Royals score first and lead 1-0.
Mentioned if Burley is on tonight, we'll probably see a lot of grounders on the left side. There's that straight changeup. Good sinking action down. That's why Billy is on top of it. Didn't hit it all that hard, but it's a seeing eye base hit between short and third. Andrew Jones charges hard. A center fielder most of his career, so he still has a good arm in left.
Now ball one inside to Jose Guillen. Jose stretching his hitting streak to 21 games during the Cardinals series. And he's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Jose has had 31 hits in his 21 game hitting streak, and 27 of those 31 hits have been singles. He was having some problems with a blister on his foot, which was taking some of the power out of his legs. Put on a show during batting practice today, so we'll see if that translates into the game. Very hard, but foul off to the third base side.
When Burley comes inside like that, he's expecting most of the right-handed hitters to pull that ball, maybe hit it hard, but have a hard time getting it in play. You mentioned all the singles for Guillen during that hitting streak. That's one of the reasons he has only 13 RBIs.
He has DeJesus at second base, Butler at first. And into the corner, but that is foul. So we stay at 2 balls, 2 strikes. 5 hits, 3 RBIs for Jose against the Cardinals. So his average, thanks to the hitting streak, has slowly climbed now into the 280s, batting at 282. Off the end of the bat and foul. Mark Burley did not get off to a good start this year, so he was very symbolic of the White Sox struggles. He is the White Sox ace, but he was 2-5 in his first 8 starts with an ERA over 5, but he has pulled things together over his last 7, and he's won 4 out of 5.
I remember early on they said he's really throwing better than what the numbers would indicate. He had 1 bad outing. Other than that, there were a lot of ground balls that went through, and they were disappointed with their defense more than anything else as far as him not throwing well.
Jose getting into it with first base umpire Alfonso Marquez. Thought he held the bat back. So that is the second out.
Well, this is what Burley does. He changes speeds, keeps the ball down, and gets good late movement on, so he keeps you off balance. Has Guillen out in front right there. That angle always looks like the bat head is out in front of the plate. But what the hitter sees, I'm strong enough to pull the bat head back. It couldn't have gone too far.
Well, if anything, the Royals have made Burley work. 25 pitches. They've scored a run on Billy Butler's single. And now Alberto Callaspo, who had a very good road trip through Atlanta and Washington, and then 4 hits and a couple of walks in the Cardinals series. So Callaspo is up to 279. And he's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. So Burley, who normally just jumps ahead, pounds the strike zone. He has been behind the last 4 hitters, including walking David DeJesus on 4 pitches. Three balls, no strikes.
I just want to turn him loose here. I mean, Burley's not going to concede and give in, throw something down the middle, but might get a good offering right here.
3-1. Mark Burley, a former 38th round draft pick of the White Sox. And that is his second walk in the inning. And now Don Cooper, the White Sox pitching coach, is concerned, and he's going to go out for a visit.
Don Cooper does a good job with their staff as any pitching coach in the American League. These guys are solid front, middle, and back end of the bullpen. And Burley, for years, has been the leader of their staff. He doesn't make many trips to the mound to try to put Burley back together.
So 2 walks, 2 hits, a run home, and they're loaded up for Mike Aviles. Not bad split for a 38th round draft pick.
Yeah, that had to come down to signability, wouldn't you think? I mean, I don't know the exact circumstances. I mean, somebody must have thought he was going to be a tough sign.
Well, they signed him out of Jefferson City Community College. And now with a career record 38 games above 500. A strike to Mike Aviles on Burley's 30th pitch of the inning. Mike just 2 for 11 against the Cardinals. One ball, one strike.
Aviles struggling with the bat in the Cardinal series, but hitting well for his career against the White Sox.
And he will add to that with a base hit to left field. 1 run is home. Billy Butler is held, and that was a good decision thanks to the throw by Andrew Jones. So the Royals have driven in Kendall and DeJesus for a 2-0 lead.
Looks like Andrew Jones made the call early on. He was not going to be able to make the play on this fly ball because he was already setting his feet to make the throw to the plate. Again, the Royals getting out in front and pulling Burley. Aviles hits this ball hard, and it looked like for a moment Jones might be able to come up and make the play. But look at that. He was already setting his feet to make that strong throw to the plate.
Just the way the catcher likes it. A nice, long one-hop.
Airmailed the cutoff man. No need to use him. There's still plenty of arm in left field.
So Aviles drives in his 12th, and now they're loaded up for Willie Bloomquist, who just owns Mark Burley. This goes back to his days with the Seattle Mariners. .433 batting average in 30 at-bats, and Burley has only struck him out twice. Hits him on a pop-up this time into shallow right. That's a long run out for Beckham. He collides with Quinton and goes down, but he hangs on. Royals leave the bases loaded, but they score 2. Are back to American League play. And Anthony LaRue with a 1-2-3 top of the first inning, and then the Royals give him 2 runs of support in the bottom half with Billy Butler and Mike Aviles driving in runs. So in his 18th Major League game, Anthony LaRue is still looking for Major League win number 1. He got Pierre, Vizquel, and Rios in the first. And now he'll tangle with Paul Konerko leading off the second inning. And Konerko is doing a little bit of everything. He is hitting for average at .301. Tied for the league lead with 20 home runs, and he has driven in 56.
He's been up with the league leaders in home runs all season long after a good start in April and a red hot May. And he might stay hot for a while because they got a big time bat behind him right now who's playing well. And Carlos Quentin, he didn't have much protection early in the year. He's still getting it done.
By reaching 20 home runs, Paul Konerko ties a franchise record. 11-20 home run seasons. That matches Frank Thomas, who is now doing a little bit of television work for Chicago. Right down the middle. So not what Konerko was expecting, and LaRue has struck out his second.
LaRue now not much time here at the major league level, so people are still trying to get used to him, but he's got a guy behind the plate that has all kinds of time here. There's a changeup down the way, 80 miles an hour. Konerko over the top of it. Then you come back with another pitch down the way, same spot, but a different speed. End up putting a little surprise on it. Both the strikeouts tonight have been called.
Fouled back by Carlos Quentin, who has deceiving numbers. You don't want to spend too much time looking at his batting average, which is low. I made that mistake and thought, well, Quentin's slumped somewhat this year, hitting just .229. But I was talking to Steve Stone, the television broadcaster for the White Sox, and he reminded me quickly he's driven in 48 runs, so he hasn't had a lot of hits. But his job is to be a run producer, and he's been just that.
Well, they're just coming off a 6-game homestand. He had 4 home runs and 11 runs driven in, so he might be the hottest of all their bats in the lineup tonight.
Still no balls, 2 strikes. Quentin, a couple of years ago, had a big year for the White Sox and then missed most of the final month after breaking a bone in his wrist. 36 home runs, 100 driven in. He fell back last year, had some problems with a foot, and he still had some pins in his wrist from the surgery the year before. So this past off season, the pins were removed. And again, the batting average is low, but 48 home runs, and we're 2 weeks away from the All-Star break, or 48 runs driven in.
And Ryan, that 2008 season, he finished in the top 5 in the MVP balloting, so everybody around the league knew what kind of year he had. That was the first time we really saw him for any long period of time. We were all impressed with what he did. And injuries kind of set in. You look back at his career and say, he's been hurt a lot.
Not quite batting out of that exaggerated crouch like he was a couple of years ago. A little more upright. He has a very small strike zone when he is down in the crouch, and he stands right on the plate, and normally is among the league leaders in getting hit by a pitch, and he's been plunked 10 times this year. That's tied for the league lead. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. LaRue getting his 3rd start tonight with Luke Hochevar on the disabled list, and Luke is on his way back, still on schedule. And tomorrow he will throw off the mound for the first time. as Quinton takes a 1-out walk. So Bruce Chen still filling in for Gilmesh, and Anthony LaRue in there for Lou Kochaver. Just in case you missed it, visit FoxSportsKansasCity.com to see our analysts debate the ever controversial pitch count and whether it's an important stat to keep track of. Just click the video tab at the top of the screen at FoxSportsKansasCity.com.
Did you hear Nate do his bit yesterday in that?
No.
Oh, pounding his fist. I mean, he was selling it big time.
What was his point?
Contract value. You know, how much is being paid. It was about Edwin Jackson next year. How much Tampa Bay is all off of the no-hitter a week ago, or last Friday night. So big debate in baseball these days. Do you worry about the pitch count when a guy is going for a no-hitter like that? Nate's quite a politician.
Still 0-2 on A.J. Pierzynski, and the last time we saw him, he was struggling to reach 200. He was batting about 190, but now at 242. So he's added about 50 points to his average in the past month, a little over a month.
He's kind of sliding again a little bit. He's 0 for his last 11.
He is a tough guy to strike out and a tough guy to walk. Check out Fox Tracks, brought to you by Quick Trip.
Well, we talked about Anthony LaRue wanting to work that side of the plate. They call that the arm side. The other side is the extension side. So he's strong away from left-handers. They might want to stay out there all night on AJ.
And he just keeps fouling him back into the screen. Just about a week ago, the White Sox were faced with a decision of whether they should trade A.J. Pierzynski because he was coming up on an important milepost for a player, a 10-5 player, 10 years in the major leagues and the last 5 with the same team. And when a player achieves that, he can veto any trade. So the White Sox as a team were struggling, and many were wondering if general manager Kenny Williams might start dismantling the team and begin with A.J. Pierzynski, because if they want to trade him after that mark, he would have to approve it. It's a pretty good at bat there, fouling off all those pitches, and he gets it through the left side. So with 1 out, the White Sox get a walk and a single.
Wells continued to work away from Pierzynski, and just as that ball was delivered, Betancourt at shortstop took a step to his left, which took him out of that position short where he might have had an opportunity to make that play. Would have been tough at any rate. Of course, Pierzynski does not get down the line well. Everything away on that last at bat. Might want to balance it out a little bit more the next time.
And now Andrew Jones. Now Andrew Jones was playing very well the last time Chicago was here, but he has fallen to 203, and he nubs that foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the middle of May, Andrew Jones had 9 home runs and 19 RBIs, so he was off to a good start. But since the Royals have seen him, he has 1 home run and 3 RBIs. He's had a rough time in the month of June, so he is looking forward to this month being over. He has Quinton at second base, Pierzynski at first, and he's ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Ryan, they can stick with him a little longer, even though he has not been hitting, because there are some other people now in their lineup that are getting it done with the bat. Plus, they're winning, and they know he's going to give them good defense in the outfield every day.
Drilled to left field, but Posednik is right there, and there are 2 down. Had a pretty good swing at a pitch that was up in the strike zone. It just didn't come off his bat. It looked like After he made contact, I thought he might drive that closer to the fence.
I think they got it in on his hands a little bit. This will tell us a little bit more. Yeah, that's down near the trademark, so he didn't get a whole lot of it. Didn't get the front side opened up, but so it got tied up a bit.
And now Alexi Ramirez. Reunited with a couple of former teammates from the Cuban national team. Catcher Brian Pena and Yunievsky Betancourt. LaRue's ahead, no balls, 2 strikes. When Omar Vizquel batted in the top of the first inning, we were talking about what an impact he has had on that team. And he may have impacted Alexi Ramirez more than any other White Sox player. They say he is playing the best shortstop they have ever seen. And it's no coincidence that he has Omar Vizquel helping him out with some of the finer points of that position.
Well, Texas Rangers pretty happy with their shortstop play a year ago out of a young fella. And while Ramirez isn't all that young, he'll be 29 later on this year. Still new to the big league level.
Skipping past Kendall. And that allows Quinton to move up to third base. And Pierzynski to second. It's a wild pitch on LaRue. Gets a little pat on the back from Alberto Callaspo, his former teammate in Arizona.
This is the side of the plate that LaRue really has a problem with. Whistles it by his catcher and all the way to the screen. In this inning especially, most of the really good pitches he has made have been to the other side of the plate.
Off the end of the bat, but Bloomquist is there, and that's the inning. The White Sox leave 2 in the top of the second inning. And the Royals forced him to throw 35 pitches. You'll get Yunievsky Betancourt, then the top of the order, Scott Pasednik and Jason Kendall. Billy Butler and Mike Aviles driving in the runs, and now Betancourt hits one through the left side. So that snaps an 0 for 12 for Betancourt. And the leadoff man is on. You Call It is presented by Sprint. And who is your pick to win the American League Central? Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, followed by a space. A for the Minnesota Twins, B for the Detroit Tigers, C for the Chicago White Sox, and D for the Royals.
But this time it's anybody's race. Minnesota in first place in the division. If they were out west, they'd be third place. If they were in the east, they'd be fourth.
Wow.
It's one of the reasons the White Sox were able to get back in it so quickly. I think coming into the year, that's about what everybody thought would happen.
And we take nothing away from Minnesota, but they have won some divisions over their stretch when they were really the only team that was doing anything in the division. And the Cleveland Indians had a stretch of division titles in the 1990s, and they were the only team that was doing anything in the division.
Right, and I think it's a division where the thought is, okay, hang in there until the middle of September. You know, there are going to be some people around you, but nobody's going to run away with it. You have a good final 2 weeks of the campaign. You'd be playing in October. This is where you have to be careful. Right over there at first base. Burley's so deceptive. And once he decides he's going to first base, as quick as anybody that's ever played the game.
Two balls and one strike on Posednik. Rolled out to shortstop in the first inning. He was with Mark Burley in 2005. And the White Sox beat the Astros in the World Series. And Posednik hitting a walk-off home run in Chicago in Game 2. And Burley not showing Betancourt his best move. So who would be number one? Andy Pettitte? Been around longer than Burley. Out at second base. And no double play. Posednik beats it out. Betancourt cut down at second and one away. Here are the early returns on You Call It. So we have some voters wishing and hoping, voting with their hearts. Otherwise, 38% going with the Minnesota Twins. And why not? In fact, as we say that, it goes up one more percentage point. That's why you come out to the ballpark, hoping your team wins the division. If you send in a text, you're going to get a bounce back text message from Sprint, which will tell you how you can register for the You Call It sweepstakes and an opportunity to sit in the Sprint suite here at the ballpark. You and 11 guests. Talking about Burley's move, Bob McClure, Royals pitching coach, had a very good move during his career. And he said, when you pick guys off, you don't normally pick off good base runners, and you don't normally pick off guys when they're thinking about stealing. In his opinion, guys like Andy Pettitte, Mark Burley, Mark Mulder, when he was pitching, you get guys in situations when no one's even thinking that you might throw over there. And then there are times, aren't there, Split, when you're not trying to pick off Scott Posednik here. You just want to make sure he doesn't get too comfortable over there.
Yeah, get something over there. Just give him a little something to think about. Plus, when you throw over there, they wonder, okay, the next pitch, is he covering for a breaking ball? You know, I don't think they're going to pitch out all of a sudden now. What's on the back of his mind? What was the purpose of that? All of a sudden, you throw a little doubt into your opponent. Maybe take him off his game. Whoops.
Sednick didn't read that one. And Ramirez will tag him out. So as I was saying, you don't pick off good base stealers, and you don't pick them off in running situations.
But you don't give me your best move all the time either. Sednick going on what he thought was first move right there. Konerko makes a key part of that play. You notice how he stepped into the pitcher. That gets him out of the base path to make a clean throw to second base. Really looks towards home, goes to first. Very close to a block call right there. Is near that 45-degree angle line. It was one year that they really wanted to tighten that rule down a little bit. They had a white line actually painted on the ground halfway between home and first, making sure everybody stepped over it. Imaginary line at a 45-degree angle coming up that first base line.
And the knees can't cross.
Well, the foot and the knee cannot step behind the pitching rubber. Now, he comes pretty close with his knee, but his foot is actually cocked out towards home plate. in that position right there. So his foot never gets up over his back foot. That tells the umpire, I'm okay to come that way.
Well, Burley has walked 3, so that's odd for him. And he has walked 2 hitters on 4 straight pitches. DeJesus was the first one in the first, and he eventually scored, and now he's walked Kendall on 4 pitches with 2 down in this inning. No balls, 2 strikes. With 1 out in the first, Kendall singled, DeJesus walked, and Butler's single got Kendall to the plate. Avila's single got DeJesus to the plate.
As good as his move is, he never picks off Konerko. And Konerko, as a result, he never gets a good break off the back. He's always laying back and waiting. So as a result, that leaves the right side of the infield a little bit more wide open. See, Konerko only takes about a step and a half off the back. Guy who doesn't have a good move, the first baseman will read it as well as the base runner. Here come way off the back. Konerko can't really move until very late.
Past Burley and into center field. Burley, a very good fielder. He won the American League Gold Glove last year for the pitchers. And that went right by his glove and into center field in a rare hit for DeJesus against Burley.
David's approach is the same. Work the middle of the field, try to hit the ball low and hard. And Burley will think he should make that play every time with it going right by his glove. He probably sold up the Gold Glove again this year with a great play that he made on opening day. Ball ended up in foul territory, and he actually hiked it like a center in football between his legs to the first baseman.
That might be the best play I've ever seen by a pitcher.
I don't know about the best, but it's the most creative. Of course, if you go all the way into foul territory to get a ball, your range is pretty good, too.
Flips it with his glove into Konerko's bare hand. Billy gets it through the right side. Here comes Kendall around third. And Quinton's throw will be cut off, and the Royals have a 3-0 lead. Butler is driven in 2.
Ryan, this ball actually got in on Billy's hands a little bit. That inside-out swing, his classic for the slider coming in. He stays back, and with that inside-out swing, now his base hit his first time went to left field. They wanted to tie him up this time. He shoots it in the hole between first and second. That's really a pretty good pitch by Burley.
Now a big swing and a miss by Jose Guillen. He struck out in the first inning. DeJesus at third, Butler at first. Fouled away, no balls, 2 strikes. Tonight's league leaders are brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Josh Hamilton extended his hitting streak last night, so Guillen and Hamilton, these are the longest active American League streaks. And then you go down 10 games to Jose Lopez with the Mariners, and Paul Konerko has a 10-game hitting streak. Burley tried to pick off the corner, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
3 of the hottest teams in the American League and interleague play. Boston, Texas, and Chicago. Imagine that. They all had a hot bat in the middle of the lineup.
Got in on the hands. Vizquel wants it. That's the inning. The Royals get a 2-out run and have a 3-0 lead at the end of 2. Rethink Possible, and by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. 88 degrees at first pitch, but it almost feels cool compared to the weekend. And Anthony LaRue has a 3-0 lead going into the third inning. And on one pitch, he gets a pop-up from Gordon Beckham. Willie Bloomquist is in center field tonight, and he runs up to get Beckham. One away. LaRue had an easy first inning, retiring Pierre, Vizquel, and Rios. And then with one out in the second, gave up a walk, a single, then a wild pitch. And the White Sox had 2 runners in scoring position, but LaRue got out of it. Juan Pierre popped out to short in the first inning. We talked about the importance of the Royals' top of the order at the beginning of the broadcast tonight. And in the 2 series with Chicago, and Juan Pierre has played well. The White Sox have played well. And in Chicago, he was on base with 5 hits, had a few walks, scored 5 runs. White Sox took 2 out of 3. But then here in Kansas City, he was 2 for 11, did not score a run. And the Royals took 2 out of 3. And he is 0 for 2 tonight as LaRue strikes out his third.
Now, when you think LaRue, you don't think necessarily a hard thrower, but throws this one right on by Pierre, who must have been looking for something else. Pierre's been doing a great job of getting on base lately. On base 14 of his last 15 games. Not a surprise for a team that is playing well. Their leadoff man is doing well.
Omar Vizquel struck out swinging in the first inning. Vizquel, for many years with the Cleveland Indians, was the prototypical number 2 hitter. And the White Sox love what he's done as their number 2 hitter. He is 0 for 2 so far tonight, and LaRue has an easy third inning. Johnson County Parks and Rec Department Special Olympics for more than 20 years, where she coaches many sports, including softball. And tonight she enjoys the game from the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat. 3-0 Royals. Mark Burley flips a curve for a strike to Alberto Callaspo. The Royals with 2 in the first and 1 in the second. Billy Butler has driven in 2 runs. Mike Aviles the other. Callaspo on with a walk in the first inning. Burley has walked 3, including 2 on 4 pitches. That's Burley's game right there, getting a ground ball to the left side. Cayaspo is out. 1 down. Tomorrow, the first 20,000 fans here at the ballpark will receive a 1973 Retro All-Star T-shirt presented by Commerce Bank. That'll be the 4th of 7 T-shirt Tuesdays. So if you want to add to your collection, get your tickets right now at Royals.com or at 1-800-6-ROYALS. I almost said Floyd Bannister will pitch tomorrow. You know why? Because Brian Bannister is going to pitch against Gavin Floyd.
Yes.
I saw those two names in the same line. It's Bannister, who outpitched Steven Strasburg last week in Washington, and Gavin Floyd, who's just 2-7 for the White Sox.
And Floyd Bannister pitched for both Chicago and Kansas
That's
City.
another reason why I almost said it. Well, if that was a swing, that's about as awkward a swing you're going to see. And Alfonso Marquez says that Avila's intent was to go around. Mike disagrees. 2 down. Well,
wasn't going to do anything with it if he hit it. You know, one of the reasons Mike Burley works so fast, you never, and I mean never, see him shake off A.J. Pierzynski. He did it about 5 years ago one time and got hit on the arm with a line drive, and he said, never again. My ideas are bad. His are a lot better. I will never do that again, and he hasn't. I don't know who called that.
Willie Bloomquist with another hit against Burley. He's 1 for 2 tonight, so he will add to his .433 career average against Burley. Let's find Joel Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, Willie Bloomquist told me that the 3 pitchers he loves to face the most are Barry Zito, Jared Washburn, and Mark Burley. No coincidence that he has faced those 3 more than anybody in his career. And he said especially Washburn, career .485 average against him, and Burley, career .433. And he said not just because he's had success, but because those 2 guys specifically compete. They come right at you, and they're not going to nibble at all. They're not going to dance around the corners. It's, here's my stuff. Whoever has the better stuff that day, the hitter or the pitcher, is going to win. He enjoys the challenge with that. We're going to follow up on that in the post game as well and see how Mark Burley approaches all night long. Willie Bloomquist able to get him the first time, not the second time, guys.
All right, thanks, Joel. No balls, 2 strikes on Yuniesky Betancourt.
Well, he would have seen Washburn a whole lot with Willie being in Seattle and Washburn most of his career out with Anaheim. He does like left-handed pitching.
Willie takes off for third, and the pitch is popped up off the right field line, and Quinton makes the play. So Bloomquist is stranded at second base, and at the end of 3, the Royals lead 3-0. Ball 1-2. Alex Rios, who fouled out to Billy Butler in the first inning. Rios, Konerko, and Quinton coming up. 13 home runs, 20 home runs, and 12 home runs. Alex Rios looking a lot more like the player in Toronto before his career started to tail off, and was placed on waivers last year and picked up by the White Sox, and they assumed a very large contract and figured that Rios would get his game back. He did not get off to a good start with the White Sox after moving over there last year. Hit less than 241 games, but his average is well over 300 with 13 home runs and 40 driven in.
Well, Ryan, you mentioned the big contract. I think that's why a lot of people were surprised at the deal, because the word was at the time White Sox would not take on any more payroll. Their attendance had been down the previous couple of years, so they were in a little bit of a pinch. Everybody's shocked when they got Rios, but they love having him. Gives them the first legitimate center fielder they've had since Aaron Rowland, and he moved on after the 05 season, so it had been a while before they had a quality athlete in center field. Solid base hit there, went down and got one near the knees. Ripped it into left field by the diving Kai Aspo.
Here's the Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparisons. Now, I don't know, is this the speed of their fastballs or the speed that they are working tonight? Because both LaRue and Burley don't waste a lot of time in between pitches. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable.
And he's not any trimmer, huh?
That's what he says.
Wow.
Says he has the same weight this year as he did last year. But as he put it, maybe I moved it around and got it away from the midsection.
Royals couldn't be any happier with what they've got out of Bruce Chen, who was a winner yesterday after a slow start. And now Anthony LaRue coming up.
Something else that Rios has done for the White Sox this year is steal bases, and he has 21. Ozzie Guillen's challenge for him this year was just get on base twice a game. They want him to hit 40 home runs. They would take it, but they'd rather have him steal 40 than try and hit 40 home runs. And Rios runs. Kendall's throw is in time. Rios can't believe it. And Aviles picked it from the third base side of the bag and swiped Rios' foot, at least according to second base umpire Tim Timmons.
Well, Aviles makes the play for the Royals because the throw is offline. So Aviles has to be quick with the tag. Not sure he got it down in time, but the second base umpire did. That throw way offline. Aviles helps himself by getting inside the bag right there. Got the throw, had to come back. That throw was dying on him. He had to go get it first. That's the game that Ozzie wants to play. You mentioned the challenge to Rios, get out and get on base and want you running. He wanted a more balanced attack than what they've had really ever since he's been on the south side. Thought they had it this year, did not work out early on. They're still a home run or nothing type team. Fortunately for them, Konerko was delivering a lot of the home run.
Well, the Royals have pitched him well this year. He's having a very good year overall. But he's 0 for 2 tonight and 1 for 24 against the Royals this year. Here's Fox Tracks, brought to you by Chevy.
And this is a great delivery right here. This is the side of the plate that LaRue has had a problem with. They call that the extension side or the glove side for him. Just off the plate, but good velocity, well placed when you're ahead in the count. Get ahead in the count, you can many times expand the zone to where the hitter doesn't like hitting with 2 strikes, and he might go chase something bad for you.
Up the right field line and fouled away by Carlos Quinton. He walked back in the second inning. Well, he's thrown first pitch strikes to 8 of the 14 hitters so far tonight. And when you look back on his first 2 starts with the Royals, when he pitched very well against the Astros back on June the 17th. He was way up there with first pitch strikes, and then that dropped off on Tuesday against the Nationals. Into center field, that's deep. Bloomquist is all the way back, leaping, and it's over his head for a home run. Carlos Quentin hits his 13th of the year.
When the ball goes the deepest part of the ballpark, you really expect it to stay in the yard. Ball's down and away, outer half of the plate. Quentin drives it deep. Bloomquist got a good jump, got to the fence, but came up a little bit short. The ball hit better than 400 feet from home plate to get out of here.
Third home run allowed by LaRue. And he comes right back at Pierzynski. No balls, 2 strikes. And remember, last time Pierzynski was up, LaRue just pitched him away. He fouled off 4 straight pitches back into the screen, and then eventually went away and singled to left field. And Kendall wants the pitch away, and it's fouled back into the crowd. Second most difficult hitter in the American League to strike out. He's also one of the most difficult to walk. Back to LaRue. He caught it somehow. Or did it catch him? Right into the glove. 3-1 roll. Scott Pasednik leads off the bottom of the 4th inning. Royals in front 3-1. White Sox just getting a home run from Carlos Quentin to get on the board. Pasednik rolls it to Beckham, and he is 0 for 3. During the month, Royals fans have been voting for one of 3 finalists in People Magazine's All Stars Among Us, choosing the person in our community who gives his or her time and resources to help others. Today the winner has been announced. It is Marcia Merrick from Mission, Kansas. She has been selected as the Royals winner. She'll be in attendance at the game tomorrow, and Marcia will be honored at the All-Star game in Anaheim on July 13th, seen only on Fox. So congratulations to Marcia. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jason Kendall has been on base twice and scored twice. Singled and scored in the 1st inning, and walked and scored in the 2nd. Both times he was driven in by Billy Butler. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Royals with 7 more hits, and they did that in 2 2/3 innings. Now the Royals are getting their hits, but Burley will also give up hits. The league is hitting over 300 against him. 3 times he has led the American League in hits allowed. Normally doesn't walk many, but he's walked 3 already tonight. That's pulled a deep short. Ramirez plants, throws, and got him by a few steps. So Kendall is out for the first time tonight. Coming up on Wednesday, it's a special 80s retro edition of Ink College Night. Not only will high school and college students get select tickets for $7, but it's also 80s retro night, so wear your best 80s gear. There will be costume contests, trivia contests, and a chance to win great prizes. That's the final game of this series, final game of the homestand, and the final home game before the All-Star break. David DeJesus, a 171 career hitter against Mark Burley, has walked and singled tonight, and he's come around to score a run. Right center field, medium deep. Rios calling for it, and for the first time tonight, the Royals go down in order. A good start against the Chicago White Sox with a 3-1 win, and this will be a good measuring stick for the Royals going up against Chicago. They're the hottest team in the American League.
Well, Chicago playing well coming in. Burley not sharp early on here tonight. You would like to gotten maybe a little bit more on the board. They've already stranded half a dozen base runners. You hope that doesn't come bite back the home guys.
The White Sox didn't score until 2 outs in the 4th inning against Anthony LaRue on a home run from Carlos Quinton. Andrew Jones flying to left in the 2nd inning. He'll be followed by Alexi Ramirez and Gordon Beckham. So a part of the order that LaRue doesn't want to mess around with too much as far as trying to pick at the corners. You have a 203 hitter, a 268 hitter, and a 204 hitter coming up. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jones. Pulled to third, big hop for Callaspo. And a good start to the inning, 1 away. Anthony LaRue made a very nice play to end the top of the 4th inning, but that's not the first time we've seen him play good defense.
You know, those line drives up the middle, Ryan, that's a play you need to make 100% of the time. Other than that, it's going to have you. But he does bounce around pretty well for a big guy. And likes to handle that glove, but that's the one you need to make all the time. What was impressive about that, he kind of falls off a little bit towards first base. He had to reach back just a bit, and there was not much time. That's a ball you really need to see off the bat. You have no opportunity at all to make the play.
Shallow right field. Aviles goes out. Alexi Ramirez is 0 for 2. Aviles has driven in one of the runs tonight. So still a ways to go, but Anthony LaRue inching closer to his first major league win with a 2-run lead. And he's given up just 3 hits in 4 2/3 innings. A strike on Gordon Beckham out on a fly ball to center field in the 3rd inning. No balls, 2 strikes. LaRue has walked 1. He has struck out 4. Look at what Gordon Beckham has done, or he hasn't done, against the Royals in his career. 140 batting average in 16 games. This year against the Royals is 3 out of 21.
He's really had a hard time with the entire league. Of course, the rookie of the year last year, so you figure he'll come into year 2 and just continue to get better. But let's not forget, he is at his 3rd position change since he got out of college. So he has bounced around a lot. That doesn't make it any easier to play at this level.
And another player who has benefited on defense with Omar Vizquel on the roster. Another pop-up. This time DeJesus comes on, and LaRue has another easy inning. With 20 career wins against the Royals, that's 6th all time. Name the top 5. I can name the first one.
Is Bird in there?
I think Bird's number 1.
Is he 1?
And that's, I believe, 34 wins.
How about the Rocket?
Richard Harlan?
Not our Rocket.
Oh, okay. Roger Clemens?
Yeah.
How about Nolan Ryan?
That hurt me bad.
Little shift of the umpiring crew in between innings. Alfonso Marquez, who was the first base umpire, he is gone. Tim Timmons has moved over from second base. Tim Cheetah, the crew chief, 25th year as a major league umpire, still a third. And Jeff Nelson still behind the plate. Two balls and one strike on Billy Butler, who has singled in a couple of runs. Now, all of these guys came up through the minor leagues, just like the players, the umpires did. And in the minor leagues, they have two-man umpiring crews. And now down to three, so they'll have to share some of the responsibilities.
Is the minor league still at two? It was when I came through, but I thought maybe they'd expanded that a little bit. You're probably right, though.
It was when I went through for my 2.5 weeks.
Well, I was there quite a bit longer, but it was also a long time ago.
Yeah, they rushed me to the big leagues.
Did they now?
Yeah. Gordon Beckham throws out Billy Butler.
I don't know who it was, but somebody made a good call.
That's a good question. Maybe it is three in the minor leagues. Of course, I'm talking about the lower minor leagues. Maybe they get up to three in AA and AAA.
We'll have to ask about that. Steve Palermo is usually in the house. He'd know. Okay, the Royals got off quickly in this ball game and looked pretty comfortable. It was 3-0, but all of a sudden now, White Sox and Burley still in this ball game. He's retired 8 out of the last 9.
And Jose Guillen has struck out and popped out. He hasn't had a good swing in play yet against Mark Burley. Two and one. 21-game hitting streak for Jose Guillen. He has now gone 18 consecutive games without a home run. Still leads the Royals with 13. Out in front of a changeup, and Burley evens the count at 2-2. Full count.
Man, there was a time this year where everybody was throwing hard stuff in on the hands of Guillen, but I think over the last 3 weeks, one of the reasons he hadn't hit the ball really driving and hitting for power, he's seeing a lot more straight changeups. They're trying to slow his bat down a little bit with the slow stuff and work him in way more breaking balls. Less of the hard stuff time after time in on the hands, but they're working him a little differently over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I think that's led to part of the problem of him not driving the ball off the wall or even over the wall.
A 4-walk game from Burley, and he's done that in less than 5 innings. So again at first with 1 out, and now Alberto Callaspo reached with a walk in the first inning, and he is grounded out to shortstop. Callaspo has a long homerless streak. He has gone 33 games since his last home run. Chance for 2. Beckham to Ramirez, and that's that for the Royals in the bottom of the 5th. to your Kansas City area Chevy dealer. And by Panera Bread, explore a menu of soups, salads, sandwiches, and savory breakfast items at Panera Bread. 3-1 Royals to the 6th inning. So Anthony LaRue has given up 1 run, 3 hits. A home run to Carlos Quinton with 2 outs in the 4th inning. And after that, he retired the next 4. So 3rd time through for the Sox. And Juan Pierre, who is the only hitter in the lineup who had faced LaRue before tonight. He only had 1 at bat. Now the lineup has seen him twice. And we'll see if they make any adjustments. Pierre has popped to short. And he has struck out. Anthony has struck out 4.
White Sox almost got no hit earlier this year in interleague play by the Chicago Cubs, and Ted Lilly. He took a no hitter into the 9th inning. It was Juan Pierre that broke it up.
What is the deal with all the no hitters and perfect games? Man,
I wish I had an answer to that.
2 no hitters, 2 perfect games, and then of course the nobody's perfect game. Callaspo runs to the hole, snags the ground ball, and throws out Pierre. So that eliminates a huge distraction for Anthony LaRue. And now he's retired 5 in a row. Also coming up on Wednesday, it's a 7:10 game with the White Sox. The first 20,000 fans will receive a 1985 World Series Game 5 DVD. Talk so much about Game 6 and that fateful inning with Don Denkinger and the play over at first base, and then the clinching game that you forget about, the one that sent the World Series back to Kansas City. In fact, we all forgot about that game so much that when we were in Atlanta during the last road trip, we all thought, wait a minute, wasn't that a game that the Royals lost?
Well, that was the game that all the guys were determined they didn't want to have to walk from the ballpark to the hotel, which is really across the street. They didn't want to walk to the hotel among all the Cardinal fans after getting knocked out of the World Series. They said, nope, if we're going to lose, we're going to do it in Kansas City. But if we get to Kansas City, we're not going to lose there either. But that had a lot to do with the fans.
So that's coming up on Wednesday night, the day after tomorrow. Omar Vizquel has struck out and grounded out. 43 years old. With Ken Griffey Jr. retiring, you forget that Omar Vizquel and Ken Griffey Jr. were teammates back in 1989. They were both rookies. Griffey was 19 years old. Vizquel was 21.
You know you're a good player when they take a uniform number out of retirement and put it on your back. Number 11 at the White Sox of Luis Aparicio had been retired. They're both from Venezuela. Vizquel a huge fan, and they're close friends. But Aparicio was the idol of Vizquel. Vizquel wears number 11 in his honor. LaRue once again staying away. That's his strong side of the plate. Everything away on Vizquel, and they play him away. It's one of those play him away, pitch him away. Vizquel grounds out 4-3.
Ball 1 to Alex Rios, singled in the 4th inning and fouled out in the 1st. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the air to deep left center field. Pasednik is back. Bloomquist is back. And Pasednik has just enough room to make the catch. And now Anthony has retired the last 7. from the White Sox against Anthony LaRue in his 6 innings. The Royals with 3 runs, 7 hits against Mark Burley. Mike Aviles singled in the 2nd run in the Royals' 2-run first. And the Royals added another run in the 2nd inning. Billy Butler has driven in the other 2. And that's off the end of the bat into shallow left. And Andrew Jones is unable to make the play. So Aviles, who had just 2 hits in the Cardinals series, has 2 hits tonight.
Royals really want to get something going against Burley, who's on a little bit of a roll. We get their leadoff man on here in the 6th. They've got men on base in every inning but inning number 4 here tonight. It's only the 2nd time tonight they've gotten their leadoff man on. And in this part of the order, you might want to move him along. See how Ned Yost decides to play this. Jones comes up a little bit short in left field.
Willie Bloomquist, normally a good bunter, if that's what Ned Yost wants to do. He has just 1 sacrifice bunt this year. But then again, you're talking about a guy who's hitting about .450 in his career against Mark Burley, so you'd hate to take the bat out of his hands.
Especially after hitting it hard his last time up to double the left field. I don't remember. Does he have a good move to first?
Well, you got Scott Pasednik in the 2nd inning, even though technically it's caught stealing because Pasednik made a move towards second base. And Aviles diving back quickly on that move.
White Sox people were talking about Joe West, who threw Burley out of that ball game in Cleveland because of the balk. It was the 2nd balk he called on him that day.
Into left center field, another base hit for Bloomquist against Burley. And Willie thought about 2. He goes more than halfway to second base, and now he's caught in a rundown. Staying in the rundown for a long time, and Aviles not getting the jump that he would like. And the last thing the Royals want to do is run into 2 outs. So that's not Aviles' problem to fix. So Bloomquist with 2 hits, but he's out on the bases.
Brian, this is a ball that Bloomquist, look how far he goes to second base. So the reason he did, Paul Konerko was way in on the infield. It didn't look like he had any opportunity to get back to first base. It looked like that was going to be wide open that allows you to go a little bit further. But Bloomquist maybe went a little bit too far because Konerko does a great job of getting back to cover one part of that rundown. Now they handle the ball a whole lot. They won't be real happy with the way they handled that play. They'll be real happy with the result.
So is that going to give you a 7-6-3-4-3-6?
That's a replay they're going to have to look at a couple times.
Eight, 4, 3, 4, 3, 6. Which I think is the zip code for Cheyenne, Wyoming. Now, Aviles does get over to third base, so it's not the best case scenario, but I think the Royals would have taken a runner at third with 1 out. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike on Betancourt.
Really important right here for Union to get something he can handle. He does tend to chase a little bit more out of the zone when men get on in scoring position. Other than that, he's improved really pretty well in that department here in 2010, but with men on base, still a little bit anxious.
Suicide squeeze. Betancourt doesn't make contact, and now the White Sox with a chance to get another out on the base pass, and Aviles is out. I tell you, that wasn't, it was a pitch out, but it didn't appear that Betancourt did everything he could to try and make contact.
Well, if it's a suicide squeeze, you need to do everything you can to make contact. I mean, he has no opportunity right there. Yeah, he did pull the bat back. That was a mistake right there on Betancourt. Even if you have to throw your bat at the ball, you do anything you can to either get it down or get it fouled off, because that runner, suicide is the right way to describe it. Here he comes on delivery. You wait just long enough so the pitcher can't see what you're doing. Aviles played it right. Betancourt could have handled it better.
Deep third, and now Betancourt is out. So a wasted opportunity for the Royals. 2 hits and 2 outs on the bases. Here's our game summary. Billy Butler has driven in 2 runs, hitting 1 in the first and in the second inning. Mike Aviles has also driven in a run. Carlos Quentin put the White Sox on the board in the 4th inning with a home run against Anthony LaRue. But that's the only run against LaRue. He allowed 3 hits, retired the last 7, and I say that in past tense because he is in the dugout, so he finished strong. Not only retired the last 7, but 8 of the last 9, and only 1 run, 3 hits. But the Royals say after 92 pitches, that's enough. So our Chevy call to the bullpen brings in Victor Marte to face Paul Konerko, Carlos Quentin, and A.J. Pierzynski.
It's been a while since Marte has pitched. He did not work over the weekend against St. Louis. He did not pitch in any of the 3 games in Washington to round out that last road trip. He did pitch a couple times in Atlanta. The Friday night game on the 18th, the Sunday game on the 20th. Pitched well in both those games.
Paul Konerko had an awful time against LaRue. He struck out twice. He never really had a good swing. He has a good swing against Marte, but he pulls it foul off the left field line. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Paul Splittorff and Joel Goldberg, along with producer Kevin Schenk, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producer Sam Abramson and Al Broughton, and the producer of Royals Live is T.J. McGinnis.
Royals bullpen continued to perform well over the weekend against the Redbirds. 7 innings of work, 1 run given up. Not a lot of strikeouts, just a couple punch outs and a pair of walks given up. But once again, the bullpen steps up over the weekend.
Paul Konerko is 1 out of 24 against the Royals this year. And at Kauffman Stadium, he is 0 for 13.
Ryan, you're talking about possible trades earlier this year if the White Sox did not bounce back and become a contender. Konerko's name was out there, especially after the good start that he had. He's on the final year of a 5-year contract, averaging 29 home runs a year over the last 4 seasons. He's easily going to get that this year if he does anything at all in the second half.
And he's got the hat trick tonight. So Marte strikes him out. And 3 strikeouts and 3 at-bats for Konerko.
Marte's stuff really plays out well for a long relief. Good fastball and effective breaking ball, but a split finger used right here as a straight change. Slower speed, good action late. Diving down out of the zone, he gets the first out by the punch out. Yeah, Joe loves this big right-hander. That's one of the things you really like and appreciate as a player. If your manager believes in you.
Carlos Quentin walked and hit a home run to straightaway center field in the 4th inning, his 13th of the year. And that sums up the White Sox offense so far tonight. 1 run, 3 hits. Two and 0.
White Sox really thought Quentin might get off to a good start this year because of the reason they moved him back to right field, which is his natural position on the field. Plus the fact that he had a good finish to September a year ago. 19 RBIs in his final 20 games. I said, hey, he's healthy and ready to go here in 2010.
This kind of came out of nowhere 2 years ago when he had the 36 home runs, 100 RBIs, and that was missing the final month of the season. He could have approached 40 home runs, if not more. And hit by a pitch. That is the 11th time he has been hit by a pitch this year. That leads the league.
He just took the lead over his teammate Juan Pierre, who's also been hit 10 times coming into play here tonight.
White Sox are going to take a look at him. They don't like the way he reacted before he went down to first base. Well, I will give you the mind-boggling numbers again if you hadn't heard them before. This is nothing new for Carlos Quentin. 2 years ago, he was hit by a pitch in 6 straight games. When he was in AAA with the Diamondbacks in 06, he was hit 31 times, and that was in just 85 games. In college at Stanford, he was once hit 5 times in a game and 38 in a college season. So he has had a bruise or 2. And at times, that's what's going to happen when you stand that close to the plate, if not sometimes hang out over the plate.
You would think a Stanford guy would be a little smarter than that, wouldn't you? What, he couldn't get into Minnesota? He had to go to Stanford?
Yeah, that's right. Political science degree.
Oh, my, okay.
Pierzynski pulls it foul off to the first base side. He is 1 out of 2 tonight. This season, it's easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell tickets to the games you can't make on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Royals. You'll find great seats and great service on StubHub all season. So go to StubHub.com. Off of Marte's glove, still a chance for 2. Out at second. Double play as Pierzynski stumbles over the bag. 20 games below 500. They beat Toronto. Detroit in front of Minnesota. If they hang on, Detroit will be in first place in the Central Division. Scott Posednik will lead off the bottom of the 7th inning. And a curveball is in for a strike from Mark Burley. Posednik has grounded out 3 times, once reaching on a fielder's choice. And another curveball, and it's 0-2.
Reason Burley's still in this ball game, he's limited his pitch total to 31 over the last 3 innings. Royals had him in some trouble after the 3rd, but not so right now.
He is at 100 pitches as Posednik pulls another ground ball foul. Had some trouble in the 1st inning when the Royals scored 2, and it took him 35 pitches to get out of that, and then 19 in the 2nd. But it's been smooth sailing since. And since the 2nd inning, the Royals have just 4 base runners. Posednik pulls it through the right side, so down in the count 0-2. He has a leadoff single, and the Royals once again have a 10-hit game. All right, let's answer tonight's AT&T trivia question. Who are the top 5 before Mark Burley? We have Bert Blyleven. We have Roger Clemens. I said Nolan Ryan. How about Mike Mussina?
Ooh, good call. Andy Pettitte.
Well, let's work on this.
Brad Radke.
That's an excellent call.
Wrong, huh?
How about
We wouldn't go way back to Catfish, would we?
So where are we, Kevin? Are we recent? No, it's not recent. All right.
Wilbur Wood. Bit close, huh? Okay.
Wilbur Wood is close. Close as in like same initials or same region? Oh, okay. How about Jim Palmer?
Uh-huh.
Scott McGregor? Okay, so we've got Palmer, Clemens, Blyleven. Was Nolan Ryan on the list? Okay, so we've got one more to go.
Couldn't think anybody would text us, although Bert was there.
Got a good clue. The clue is you got to know when to fold them.
Dolly Parton.
So that would be the gambler, Kenny Rogers. One ball, 2 strikes. So Bert kind of all by himself there with 9 more wins than Clemens.
I was amazed in talking to him. He pitched for 23 years at a high level. 23.
He a Hall of Famer to you?
Yeah, I thought he was dominant. To me, that's the big item. If you are dominant in your era, 23 years, I think you're a couple of years.
The problem with Bert now is that the longer they wait, if they are going to induct him, people have passed him on the all-time list, which is unfair to him.
Well, and the other thing I think hurts him is he keeps talking about it. If he just let him go and, let the votes fall where they may, but he's all talking about, how he should be there and how, I think you're better off you let somebody else politic for you.
Good point. He was, top 5 or 6 in strikeouts, I think, when he retired. And he was in the top 5 in shutouts. That doesn't get you in the Hall of Fame?
I always think of him as a guy who had almost no run support his whole career. I think he lost more 1-0 games, 2-1 games than anybody of his time.
Kendall having a very good plate appearance, 3 balls, 2 strikes. I think Bird also finished #1 all time in lighting people's shoelaces on fire.
Maybe that's the guys that aren't voting.
That's a great plate appearance. Kendall down, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fouled off some tough pitches, pitcher's pitches. Burley put him right where he wanted to and had Kendall reaching and off balance, and he ends up with a walk. And how about a 5-walk game from Mark Burley?
Second inning in a row, the Royals have gotten their first 2 hitters on base against Burley. See if they can avoid the mistake here. Try to move them along somehow.
This is the 45th appearance for Burley against the Royals, and it is only the 2nd time he has had 4 or more walks. This is his 342nd career start, and only 18 times has he had 4 or more walks. And now DeJesus lays down a drag bunt. He'll be out at first, but he moves up Pasednik to third and Kendall to second. Well, kind of a no-lose situation there. If DeJesus gets the hit, they're loaded up. If he's out, you got 2 in scoring position for Billy Butler.
Royals bunted a lot early in the year. Haven't done it over the last month or so. That was more than just a sacrifice bunt right there. I think he was trying to get a base hit, but White Sox covered the play well. This might do it for Burley.
It'll be right-hander Sergio Santos replacing Burley with runners at second and third and 1 down in our Chevy call to the bullpen. Royals trying to add on. They lead by 2. Much quicker than he wanted to, and he departs down 3-1, walking 5, and that's just the 4th time in his career that he has walked 5. His career high is 6, so this is certainly a rare night for him, and the best that he can hope for now is a no decision as Sergio Santos comes on, and he inherits runners at second and third with 1 out, and Billy Butler coming up.
Santos, one of the dependable guys coming out of their bullpen. He's 3rd on their club in appearances with 27. This is number 28 tonight. Solid ERA at 2.38. 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, and opponents hitting just .226 against him this year. Former 1st-round draft choice of Arizona back in 2002.
Billy Butler has 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and there's a couple more out there for him. The infield is in halfway, and Pierzynski just saved 1 run, and he had no intention at all of trying to catch that ball. That was all about getting his body in front of it. and keeping it from bouncing up against the screen. Billy was already hitting .435 against the White Sox before his 2 hits tonight. So they've had more questions than answers on what to do with him this year. And now Santos is behind 2-0, and Pierzynski hesitated before throwing that ball back. He thought Jeff Nelson should have called it a strike. He got that call, and it's 2-1.
Ryan, I think one of the things you factor into the call by Ozzie Guillen to go to the bullpen right here is not only Billy and the way he has hit average-wise against their ball club, but how about tonight? Base hit to left field, base hit to right field. If Burley's going to be out there for the 4th time to face him, got him out once, where do you go? You know, he's pulled the ball and hit it hard. He's taken it the opposite way. Now that 4th time, what does he do to handle him? You're probably better off going to somebody else.
And Santos gets a 96-mile-an-hour fastball by him. Jose Guillen waits on deck. Posednik singled. Kendall walked. DeJesus laid down a sacrifice bunt. And Billy hits it right to Beckham. No double play.
Good to see him hit the ball hard when it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now, you'd like to make something better happen than that if it's early in the at-bat. But once they get the 2 strikes on you, still find something you can hit hard somewhere.
Last chance perhaps for Jose Guillen to extend his hitting streak. 95 miles an hour for strike 1. He struck out in the 1st inning, popped to 3rd in the 2nd, and walked in the 5th. That's into right center field. Quinton comes over and makes the play. The Royals strand 2 more in the 7th, and that's 8 overall, but they lead by 2.
Marte goes 1 inning, gets 1 strikeout, and then here's Robinson Tejeda, who went an inning yesterday afternoon against St. Louis. He's on for the 32nd time this year. Been effective in relief. They got him for him is the fact that he's commanding everything he throws out there right now. When he comes in, you don't worry like you did earlier in the year about his ability to find the strike zone. Credit a lot of that to the new throwing program that all the relievers have gotten on over the last month or so. All of them throw about every day in the bullpen before batting practice, off of the mound. New program is paying early dividends here in KC.
Tejeda will get Andrew Jones, Alexi Ramirez, and Gordon Beckham. 7, 8, 9 hitters, and a ground ball to the left side is bobbled by Callaspo, and he didn't get him. Showing off some pretty good range, going to his left to cut it off, but then it spilled out of his glove.
Ball maybe took a little bit of a hop on him right there, right on that last hop. Maybe got on the heel of his glove. Let's take a look right here. They caught it on the heel of his glove. Did the right thing by pulling it into his body because that keeps the ball in front of him where he's got an opportunity to stay with the play.
It's only the 4th error committed by Callaspo this year. So immediately the tying run is at the plate, and ball 1 to Alexi Ramirez. That's the first time that Andrew Jones has been on base tonight. Alexi Ramirez is 0 for 2. One ball, one strike.
Really want to keep the ball down here against Ramirez to get that ground ball, but also you think back over the last year or so, anytime he's hit the ball hard against the Royals, it's on a fastball up and out over the plate. He can turn on it and hit it hard to left field. He does have pull power.
Two balls and one strike. Blake Wood had been handling the 8th inning in games like this, but he pitched the last 2 games in the 9th. In a 2-run loss to the Cardinals on Saturday, and then the 7-run win yesterday. So Tejeda gets the 8th tonight, hoping to hand it off to Soria. 2-2. Against Robinson Tejeda, Alexi Ramirez is 2 out of 9, and Tejeda has struck him out 4 times.
This is a pitch you'd like to make something happen at 2-2. You don't want to see a 3-ball count.
And it's a one-hopper to second. Out at second base, and the throw is wide, and Betancourt got sloppy on that play. He had more time than he thought. The Royals have committed an error. Now they've let a double play slip away.
This ball is kind of fisted to the second baseman. It takes a while to get there. Underhand toss, and Betancourt going across the bag. Never really set his feet or made a turn to get much on the throw. Didn't get much on it. Didn't throw it very accurately. Billy got a little bit of leather on it, but not enough to make the play. Well, you'd love to see that one turned over the base runner. Wasn't all that close to the feet of Betancourt at second base.
And now Gordon Beckham, who has flied to center field and flied to right. So his problems against the Royals continue. That drops him below 140 in his career against KC. 2 balls and no strikes. If you add in Victor Marte's 7th inning, the Royals bullpen ERA over their last 16 games, including tonight, is about 1.5. Shallow center field. Aviles wants it. 2 down. Who would have thought back in April, early April, mid-April, late April, that the Royals bullpen would turn out to be not just better than it was then, but maybe one of the best now in the division?
Well, who would have thought that they'd had to make as much turnover in that bullpen as they had to make in the first 5 weeks of this year?
Kaneko Teixeira, picked up off of waivers from the Seattle Mariners. Blake Wood, who is on the other side of that steel post, called up from the minor leagues. Victor Marte called up from the minor leagues. And then guys like Robinson Tejeda just simply getting better. Lined over the head of third base coach Jeff Cox. So this is bonus time for the White Sox because of the air. They're still hitting in the 8th inning. Otherwise, the Royals should be back in the dugout. Pierre is 0 for 3 so far. An error committed by Callaspo, and then Betancourt threw away a potential double play. Another chance for Betancourt. It's by him and into center field. Ramirez stops at second. And Pierre has his first hit.
This is Pierre's ball game. Hit the ball on the ground, let your speed take over. That one finds the hole up the middle. Betancourt ranging far to his left. It's the first ball that the Sox have gotten out of the infield here in inning number 8.
And that is their first hit since Carlos Quinton's home run with 2 outs in the 4th inning that put the White Sox on the board. Omar Vizquel has grounded out twice and struck out. Oh and 1. Vizquel has only faced Tejeda once, and he walked.
Well, this is the guy you want to get right now. Vizquel, a pretty good contact hitter, does not strike out a whole lot. He doesn't usually drive the ball deep. Only half a dozen extra base hits so far this year, but you're getting dangerously close to the power part of their lineup.
Next, it's Alex Rios with 13 home runs, and then Paul Konerko with 20 home runs, and Carlos Quinton, who has hit his 13th home run tonight.
They've got speed on the bases.
Popped up. And Betancourt with a chance to end it, and he does. So an error and a single, but no runs in the 8th.
We will talk about no balks, but plenty of Burley walks. Jeff Montgomery on the post-game show, he was talking about that great move of Burley's, and it was the walks, though, tonight. Bloomquist by a bat against Burley. Will explain how he was able to get it done against him. And Anthony LaRue looking for his first major league win. We'll hope to hear from Anthony, as well as Ned Yost. Highlights and much more coming up with Monty in just a bit, guys.
Okay, Joel, the Royals wouldn't mind adding some insurance before getting to Joakim Soria. It'll be Alberto Callaspo, Mike Aviles, Willie Bloomquist, Victor Marte has pitched a scoreless inning tonight. Robinson Tejeda the same. Caspo walked in the first inning. Otherwise, he has grounded out twice, once into a double play. Sergio Santos took over in the 7th inning with 1 out. Got the final 2. And now he gets the 8th. Royals scored 2 in the first inning and 1 more in the second. Billy Butler has driven in 2. Mike Aviles has driven in a run. Royals have had more opportunities since then, but they have left 8 runners on base in the game. And they had an inning where they had 2 runners on with nobody out, but made a couple of outs on the bases. 1-2 on Caspo. Canerco charges, Santos to the bag, and he beats Caspo 1 away. Joaquim Soria getting ready for the top of the 9th inning. He'll get to 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Alex Rios, Paul Canerco, and Carlos Quinton. Mike Aviles drove in a run in the Royals' 2-run first inning and singled again in the 6th. And then he was out in between home plate and third in the 6th inning on a busted suicide squeeze play. He breaks his bat and Rios dives right by it. Aviles will go to second base. So it's a 3-hit game for Mike Aviles.
Brian, the whole time this fly ball is hanging up there, I was thinking about what the White Sox people have said about Rios playing as good a center field as anybody in the American League right now, and thought, uh-oh, what if he goes ahead and makes this? He's putting on a gold glove kind of campaign here. In 2010, he gave this one a big-time effort. Ball bounded away a little bit. You can gamble a little bit on a natural grass field because the ball won't roll very far. He was up in Toronto. He might not have wanted to try that.
Get some rug burns on the palm of your hand. Slow roller to third. Vizquel, bare hands, didn't get him. So Bloomquist beats it out. He has a 3-hit game. And runners at first and third with only 1 out.
Omar Vizquel makes the play a lot closer than it had a right to be. Look how quick that play is made, how much he got on the throw, and how close he made it.
And Rusty was right. Bloomquist was safe.
You think Vizquel played third base his whole career? He looks great over there.
Well, will the Royals try a suicide squeeze again with Aviles at third base and Betancourt at the plate? Give him a chance to redeem himself. It is inside with a fastball at 96. Back in the 6th inning on the suicide squeeze. The White Sox sniffed it out. They pitched out, but Betancourt didn't do anything to try and make contact.
Ned Yo's philosophy is, I believe in you, that you are capable of doing the job until you show me you can't.
Sharply hit, and it turns into a double play. So we go to the 9th, and the Royals are 3 outs away from taking game 1. scored in all of their runs in the first 2 innings. Billy Butler driving in 2 in our Chevrolet plays of the game.
Royals got some big-time hitting in the first 3 innings tonight against Mark Burley. Burley was looking for win number 7, but the Royals got a couple in the first, added another one in the second. Got a man on a scoring position in the third, but not a whole lot since then. But the Royals got 3 early, still looking to make them stand up here tonight. Haven't seen much of Soria lately. His last time out Friday night against St. Louis, picked up save number 18. He also saved the Wednesday ball game in Washington. That was his only outing on that last road trip. 28th of the year for Joaquin. He's only missed on a couple save opportunities, and those came early in the year.
Alex Rios, Paul Konerko, and Carlos Quinton in the 9th inning. Rios singled in the 4th. He is 1 for 3. He's also flied to the warning track in left field. And Joaquin is ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. So that's what he's done tonight. And against Joaquin Soria, 1 for 3. He is also walked. One away. Fastball at 95. Wow. Let's check the location on Fox Tracks, brought to you by Taco Bell.
Well, the location is as impressive as the velocity. Threading the outside corner, just threw it right on by a good fastball hitter. Normally you see Joaquin about 92 miles an hour, so nice and loose here tonight.
Paul Konerko, with a 10-game hitting streak, has struck out 3 times, twice against Anthony LaRue and once against Victor Marte. And it doesn't get any better for him against Soria. He is 0 for 6 with a couple of strikeouts. One ball, 1 strike. White Sox yesterday against the Cubs lost an 11-game winning streak, and now they're just a couple outs away from a 2-game losing streak. White Sox were 15-3 against the National League, including a 1-point winning 15 out of 16. But tonight, 1 run, 4 hits. Betancourt has it go off of his glove, tried to field it a couple of times. And Konerko is at first with 1 out, and that means Carlos Quinton represents the tying run.
This wasn't going to be a real easy opportunity because he is deep in the hole, in fact, at the edge of the outfield grass, but certainly a makeable play to the backhand side. Played it on the long hop and seemed to get a convenient hop. Never get a hold of the ball. It bounded loose. Second error of the night.
And the Royals have committed errors in each of the last 2 innings. And now Carlos Quinton walked in the 2nd inning, homered in the 4th, and was hit by a pitch in the 7th. Timeout was called by Jason Kendall. This is with 2 outs in the 4th inning.
Well, you want to keep the ball in the deep part of the ballpark if you're the Royals against a hitter like Quinton, but just enough to get it out of here.
Soria misses away, ball 1.
That was not wind aided either. He's been drifting in gently from the north all evening. You know, this hot streak started out for the White Sox. They went in a homerless drought. They went 8 straight games without hitting any home runs. That was the start of this winning stretch for them. So they did it without the long ball early on. That's a long time for them to go without a home run.
I don't think Ozzie Guillen minds that too much because he's been trying to get them back to a more balanced offense like they had in 2005 when they won the World Series. He went, and it's 2-1.
That's one of the things that makes Soria so good. That's a fastball situation right there. I mean, they're looking dead red on 2-0. They're able to come back with a breaking ball and get it over.
Anthony LaRue went 6 innings, gave up 1 run, 3 hits. Victor Marte pitched a scoreless 7th. Robinson Tejeda a scoreless 8th. And now 1 on, 1 out in the 9th. And it's 3 balls and 1 strike on Quinton. Quinton is 2 out of 5 against Soria. And one of those hits was a double. AJ Pierzynski waits on deck. Quinton was on his way to first base. Instead, it's 3-2.
Again, when you're behind, they can't get an off-speed pitch over. They're going to look for the fastball. End up right down the middle. Quinton thought it was a little high. You think that closer's job is tough and that he's nervous out there? Most nervous guy in the ballpark is Anthony LaRue.
And now a walk, so the tying run is on. And the Royals have given the White Sox a couple of runs in the 9th inning, an error, and now a walk. Excuse me, gave him a couple of base runners. And now Quinton is going to come out for a pinch runner. It's Brent Lillibridge over at first base. Let's hope it doesn't turn into a couple of runs. AJ Pierzynski 1 for 3 with a single back in the 2nd inning. And 2 for 9 against Joakim Soria. And he's tried to bunt and he gets hit on the knee. So the tying run moves into scoring position with 1 out.
Soria's been able to get the off-speed pitch over here in this inning. Probably the reasons they thought they could go with it on first pitch to Pierzynski, but I think they had to have been surprised that he was squaring around looking to bunt.
And now Mark Kotze, a left-hand batter, is going to hit for Andrew Jones. Jones finishes 0 for 3. So 3 gift runners, an error, a walk, and a hit batter.
Kotze has lost some playing time recently because he has been down a little bit with the bat. Getting a lot of time as a designated hitter early on this year, but not so much lately.
Fastball at 94 for strike 1. Well, Soria has the stuff to be a good closer, but he also has the focus to be a good closer, and we've seen him get out of this before. One ball, 1 strike.
Brian, you hate to give anybody free base runners, but you really hate to give a club all those freebies when they are playing well, because this is a Cottonwood ball club that they can come back against anybody at any time. And while they're down by a couple runs on the scoreboard, probably pretty happy where they are right now because they got a chance to draw even, maybe even take a lead.
Just a little low.
It's all about the mental approach to the game and how you feel about your game. Joakim around the plate, but a little bit low right there. White Sox winners of 11 of their last 12 and 15 of their last 17.
Broke his bat and popped it up. Infield fly rule, so Kotze doesn't even leave home plate. That's a waste of time. And now 2 down. It's going to come down to Soria and Alexi Ramirez. Ramirez tonight is 0 for 3. He lined to center back in the 2nd inning. That was his best swing tonight. 0 for 2 with a walk against Soria. And then he takes outside for ball 1.
And Ramirez normally looks to try to pull the ball, so I would think that Kendall and Soria will try to stay to the outside part. And again, a good high ball hitter with pull power is Ramirez.
And he takes a fastball. And it's 1-1. Soria struck out Alex Rios. Konerko reached on a fielding error by Unievsky Betancourt. Carlos Quinton walked. Lillibridge is running for him. Pierzynski was hit by a pitch. KCA popped up. 2 balls and 1 strike.
That was a big pitch right there. Soria could have gotten ahead. Ramirez has a reputation of a free swinging kind of hitter who will go after a bad pitch, but you can't afford to deliver one here hoping that he'll go after it when you're down in the count 2-1.
Two balls, 2 strikes. We haven't seen the big slow curveball from Soria tonight. Been just fastball, slider, and mostly fastball.
We haven't seen as much of the slow curveball this year. Just lately.
Three and 2.
Infield, knock down the ball, keep it in the infield. Outfield can't let anything get through to roll deep. Base runners will be going on this pitch. They've got a big advantage now.
Three runners on no hits. Popped up. And he went with the slider on 3 and 2. Aviles is there, and the Royals hang on. So Soria saves his 19th. And Anthony LaRue wins his first major league game. So the Royals tried to help the White Sox in the last 3 innings. They had 6 runners in the last 3 innings, and only one of those was a hit. A couple of hit batters, a walk, 2 errors, and 1 single. And so the Royals back to divisional play after interleague play, beat the hottest team in the American League, and they hold them to 1 run on 4 hits.
You look at those final numbers right there and say, oh, that was pretty comfortable, but the way the Royals wobbled, as you mentioned, Ryan, those last 3 innings, 5 freebies, giving up in innings 7, 8, and 9, including 3 freebies in the 9th. Good to get out of here with a W.
Mike Aviles driving in a run. Billy Butler drove in 2. Aviles had 3 hits, and he is down on the field with Joe Goldberg.